Hello, good afternoon. Here is a lecture regarding the diet and regimen from the Organon of Medicine. It is very important for the third year as well as the fourth year students, and I am trying to explain from the Organon of Medicine as per the standard of the third and fourth BHMS. First of all, it is very important for us to know about the diet. Diet is one of the very important thing because whatever the body needs, the whatever components, whatever the elements the body needs, we get from the diet. And in the treatment, when we are very much attentive regarding the medicine, we often forget to regularize the diet of a patient, which is very important. In many of the cases, we see that for example, the pseudochronic diseases, the indispositions, there the diet is very important. If we regulate the diet in these cases, in many cases, we often do not require any medicine even. So, if we see regarding the diet from the Organon of Medicine, we get the diet from, it is written particularly throughout the Organon of Medicine. Wherever there is any sort of discussion about the accessory circumstances, we get the diet there, but particularly from the aphorism number 259 to aphorism number 263. These four aphorisms are very important, and in these four aphorisms we get regarding the diet. Beside this, we get some sort of discussion about nutrition from Dunham's philosophy, which is very important for the fourth BHM students, where it is written the importance of nutrition during a treatment, and another also the limitations, how much a nutrition can make, and from where we should begin the treatment by the medicine. It is also given in Dunham's philosophy. In the very first chapter, we can get from the pathology in homeopathy. Another thing is that that is in the first chapter, that is the science of therapeutics from Dunham. Another thing is that we get from the Roberts philosophy, there is also a very important part of nutrition, where it is in the chapter the SORA or deficiency. It is very important for the third year and the fourth year students. SORA or deficiency, where it is said that SORA, the beginning of all the diseases, the mother miasm, the basic background of the starting or the activation of the SORA is deficiency. Each and every disease starts from SORA, and the SORA starts from deficiency, said by Dr. H. A. Roberts, and it is very important and it is very true also, as because if we get the necessary amount or the whatever the body needs to maintain the life, if we get it, why will be in a disease? The inimical forces, the dynamic inimical forces and the deficiencies which we get from these from our irregular food habit or insufficient food or any type of dietary hazards, or you can say that indisciplined diet, etc. From there, there is deficiencies, and this deficiency leads to the formation of diseases where the body cannot function, as because the requirement is not fulfilled by the food or by the diet. So from this discussion we can see that diet is very important for us for each and every life. See what the particular experience, what I can tell you, that in each and every person, each and every individual, whether he is diseased or not, diet is very important. What he is taking, the air, water and food which we take, is very important for the building up of our body, for the maintenance of our body, for the immunity of our body, and the proper functioning of each and every organ, as because each and every organ requires something special components for their particular work. If we do not provide the work, if we do not provide the component, if we do not provide the element to the body, how can the body work? Suppose you see that our body needs oxygen for combustion. Okay, each and whether it is a machine where there is a fire, oxygen is needed. Now, if you do not give oxygen where from the body will function on that particular part, or where from the machine will function from the particular part, or where from the fire will be lighted without the oxygen. So this is one example. So there are many elements throughout this world, and there are many requirements of elements of this in the body, and this requirement must be fulfilled by the diet. There is a myth that this diet and these elements, there everything is not necessary. We are taking the food and the body is capable of living, and we do not require each and every type of meal. That is a myth, that is not a truth, because suppose you see that what in the meal what we are taking, are you taking all the necessary elements which is present? The scientist has shown that this type of food has this type of vitamins, this type of food has this type of minerals, this type of proteins, this type of carbohydrates, etc. But when we are taking the meal, are we sure that are you taking all the type of vitamins, minerals, and etc. what you needed for the body? If there is any type of shortage, there must be some deficiency in the functions, and if there is continuous shortage, the deficiency will lead to the malfunction which will produce the chronic diseases. This is one of the very important thing. The other inimical forces which lead us to chronic diseases we may call the dynamic inimical forces. There may be stress, there may be the adverse condition of the weather, there may be many other factors for the chronic disease. That is why Hahnemann has told that the fundamental cause for the chronic disease, we cannot find out a particular cause as an exciting cause in the acute disease. In the chronic disease, there is a particular fundamental cause. There may be multifactorial. Many factors are affecting us each and every time. So among all these factors, the most important factor is diet. So from effort number 259, let us read from effort number 259, and we will find some informations when regarding the diet and regimen during our treatment. So from this organon of medicine, we are not going to discuss what a healthy person needs to live a healthy and healthy life, but from effort number 259 to 263, we will discuss about how the diet of a patient can be managed. Okay. So first of all, starting from effort number 259, considering the minuteness of the doses necessary and proper in homeopathic treatment, we can easily understand that during the treatment everything must be removed from the diet and regimen which can have any medicinal action, in order that the small dose may not be overwhelmed and extinguished or disturbed by any foreign medicinal irritant. Our homeopathic medicine is given in a very minute dose. So any type of thing which can affect our human body, it can affect the diet. It can affect the health. The diet which we are taking, it may affect the action of the medicine. So we must be very careful when you are treating a patient homeopathically, that everything which is having a medicinal quality or everything which is having something irritable quality must be removed from the diet of that patient who is taking the medicine. This is very important for us, and often we know that many patients they say that what type of restrictions in the diet we should take. Now and many patients, they know that in homeopathy, if the patient is taking homeopathic medicine, there are certain things the patient should not take. It is known today to many of the patients. In the allopathic system of medicine, the restrictions of diet is according to the disease, but in homeopathic system of medicine, during the treatment, there is a common restriction of many type of things which is particularly having a medicinal value. So this is the first thing which we have to understand, that we have to have a restricted diet when you are treating a patient by homeopathy. In aphorism number 260, we can see that there is a here is the careful investigation into such obstacles to cure is so much the more necessary in the case of patients affected by chronic disease, as their diseases are usually aggravated by such noxious influences and other disease causing errors in the diet and regimen, which often pass unnoticed. So very careful investigation. See, it has been given in a footnote of this aphorism number 260, discussing about the diet and regimen from the 260 footnote. Coffee, fine Chinese and other herb teas, beer prepared with medicinal vegetable substances unsuitable for the patient's state, so-called fine liquors made with medicinal spices, all kind of punch, spiced chocolates, odorous waters and perfumes of many kinds, strong scented flowers in the apartment, tooth powders and essences and perfumed sachets compounded of drugs, highly spiced dishes and sauces, spiced cakes and ices, fruit, medicinal vegetables for soups, dishes of herbs, roots and stalks of plants possessing medicinal qualities. So these all the things, even old cheese and meats are in the state of decomposition or that possess medicinal properties. These all the things it is said that the patient should avoid while taking homeopathic medicine. There are many other things, that is the sedentary life regarding the regimen. These are from the diet, and there are many other things you can see from the footnote of aphorism number 260. So if a patient says what type of restrictions you should take while taking a homeopathic medicine, you should refer to aphorism number 260 footnote. We can take some more examples, that is the sedentary life in closed apartments or frequent indulge in more passive exercise, sitting up long at night, uncleanliness, unnatural debauchery, enervation by reading obscene books, etc. These are also bad things which can disturb the patient's health. These should be also avoided. Grief, vexation, anger, etc., etc. There are many things which is given in this aphorism, the footnote of aphorism number 260. Now coming to aphorism 261, the most appropriate regimen during the employment of medicine in chronic diseases consists in removal of such obstacles to recovery and in supplying where necessary the reverse. So what a patient should take, or what is the most appropriate regimen during the treatment, chronic disease treatment treated by homeopathic medicine. What is it is given here, that what the patient should do. What the patient should do, it is written in this line: innocent moral and intellectual recreations, active exercise in the open air in almost all kind of weather, daily walks, slight manual labor, suitable, nutritious, unmedicinal food and drink, etc. So the patient should take a slight healthy exercise, not a vigorous exercise. The patient may somewhat something regarding the walking, slight manual labor, etc. And the patient should take a very healthy food, which is non-medicinal food. Plus there is another thing, that innocent moral and intellectual recreation. Now see, the recreation may be of different types. Sometimes suppose you are seeing a horror movie. This is also a recreation, but somehow it is not. It is having an impact upon our nerves. Whatever we can enjoy a horror movie, but it is also having not a very good impact. It may fear a child. Okay. Sometimes we are having a recreation of vigorous dancing, disco, etc., etc. Sometimes it is not so much good, or we cannot say some innocent or intellectual moral recreation. A very good sober type of thing, sober type of book, sober type of movies, sober type of decent and sober conversation with friends may also give you a very good recreation. So this type of recreations are also needed to give a very, very good mental support for a patient. This was aphorism number 261, which is in which it is written what type of things a patient should do, or what type of recreation, what type of exercise, and what type of food. These 3 points are given there. Now coming to aphorism number 262. 262, there is something we can see that the sort of desire and aversion of the patient regarding the diet and regimen. So let us see what is written here. In acute diseases, on the other hand, except in cases of mental alienation, the subtle unerring internal sense of the awakened life-preserving faculty determines so clearly and precisely that the physician often requires to counsel the friends and attendants to put no obstacles in the way of voice of nature by refusing anything the patient urgently desires in the way of food, or by trying to persuade him to partake of anything injurious. What is written here? That it is a very natural thing which is the craving or the desire or the want of the patient. If we discuss with the patient's friends or attendants, the friends or attendants may give you the correct information regarding the patient's want, that the patient is wanting this, the patient is wanting that. Sometimes the patient is so much irritated, or the patient is so much in a condition that he cannot answer properly. There the attendants or the family members of the patient tell us that the patient is telling to wanting this and that. And we see that in maximum of the cases, we see that we should not put any type of certain and strict obstacles for this type of want, because this want of the patient is particularly due to the natural cravings. If the patient is thirsty, let him give water until and unless there is any severe pathological condition of giving any severe idiomatic condition or any type of post-operative conditions where water intake is strictly prohibited. Other than that, particularly in the acute diseases, it is very superficial disease. There, whatever the patient wants, we should give, or in the maximum conditions, which the patient should be provided with what the patient what he is wanting. Except there is one exception in aphorism number 262 written, that the except in the condition of case of the mental alienation, because the mental patient, they do not know what they are wanting, they are not in a normal mental situation. So whatever the mental patient will want, we should not provide everything the mental patient. Again, next coming to the following this discussion, coming to aphorism number 263, that in some conditions we get that the patient is wanting something which is not so much permissible. For example, anything which is during the fever, often you see that during the fever there is some sort of loss of taste, or whatever is not a good condition of taste within the mouth, and the patient is wanting some sort of pickles. Achar khana chahte hain, कोई तीखा कुछ खाना चाहते हैं, this type of things, some sort of pungent things, pickles or etc. The question is that whether we will provide this or not. It is given in aphorism number 263. It is written exactly that during these type of things, when the patient is wanting something, in this condition we generally should not put any obstacles to what is want, but there is exception, that the thing should be provided in a moderate amount which will not do any harm physically to the patient. Another thing is that the craving of the patient must be very carefully judged, as because if the patient is wanting something which is injurious or severely injurious, for example, if the patient is wanting some sort of alcohol, we should not provide the patient alcohol. So this is the thing which is a matter of the common sense for the physician, what should be provided and what should not be provided. In many of the cases where the patient is having some sort of refreshment by taking a very little amount of some type of food which he wants to eat, we may allow this patient with this type of food. For example, pickles, somebody who wants to eat a sort of meat, some sort of this type of tasty something, and very in a very little amount, it will provide some sort of freshness to the vitality, some sort of freshness to the psychology of the patient. He will become happy. The condition of the vital force will become more refreshing by taking this type of food in a very moderate amount, and the injury which may happen due to this food by taking it will be overcome by the refreshing vital force which is refreshed by this sort of food. It is a very important thing where we are having a very common question whether this food will be provided or not. If the answer is given in aphorism number 263. So please go through the aphorism number 263 because if I read aphorism number 263, it will be the video will be very long. So you can go with aphorism number 263. In the dietary regimen, there are a lot of things to say in the dietary regimen, but from aphorism number 259 to 263, these 4 aphorisms, it is very important for us. What we learned from this is aphorism number 259, that is the restrictions in the dietary regimen, particularly all the medicinal substances should be avoided. Aphorism number 260, anything which is providing the obstacles should be avoided. The footnote here is given, it is very important. It is mentioned exactly what things should be avoided. Aphorism number 261, what type of dietary regimen should the patient follow during the treatment. Aphorism 262, except in mental cases, in the acute conditions, we should provide the sort of want which the patient is wanting. We should not give any obstacles to the sort of want. And aphorism number 263, during the treatment, whatever diet the patient is wanting, or whatever craving the patient is wanting, in a moderate amount, we should provide the patient in this thing, seeing that by strictly observing that it must not do any type of injury physically, any type of harm physically. Otherwise, the refreshment which is occurring by giving this type of diet, it will provide a very better condition of the vitality in this condition. So thank you. We will again meet in the next session for some next topic from the organelle of medicine.